I got to justify or rationalize something to getting in or getting out, then you probably are wrong. Remember, we only trade on what we know, not what we feel. If your answering or your rationale to this upper movement at this point is, well, I feel it's going to go, then you're already wrong. That's called gambling. We make decisions, or you should be making decisions on an entry or an exit based on what we know, not what we feel. All right. All right. So today we're going to talk about entries and exits. Entries and exits. So, how do we not get caught by a false breakout? If you were thinking, how can I not get caught by a false breakout? What's the first thing you're going to look at? I mean, I'm trying to decide here. Let's just use this example here. This is oil. This is where it closed. But let's not worry about its oil, right? We're
Don't see
just
the chart.
looking at the price action.
Yeah, we don't see the chart.
Uh, thank you. Here we go. All right. So let's not worry about its oil. Let's just look at the price action of the thing. So if I am contemplating, hey, am I looking for rejection or am I looking for an upper movement? What's the one thing? If I had to pick one thing, what do you think I want to look at? Well, the one thing I want to look at is volume increasing or decreasing at this point? So how am I going to check that? Well, I might want to look at the volume part of the ADX. I might want to look at the RSI. And of course, I might want to look at the momentum on the momentum chart. Has it crossed the 100 in the upper movement? I might want to look at the Instagram here on the MACD. So if those numbers are marginal, like straight line, I'm probably not looking for an upper movement here. So if I see that these numbers, like the RSI, if I'm using the 50 as my watermark, if I'm looking at that, and like right here, this number is 56. It's saying that price is in a buy, but does it have any horsepower here? And the answer to that is no. Even though the ADX is a healthy number here, even though the signal has crossed the zero line here, right? Barely, but it's crossed it. I'm looking at it like, that 56 number really isn't exciting. It really isn't. And then if I go to the momentum, right? We go to the momentum here. And I see that the momentum is above the 100, but it's really not, And then the RSI here is healthy, moving into the upper movement. So I'm just going like, okay. There's one or two things. A, maybe not right now. Maybe I'm not looking for upper movement right now. Or B, I'm going to look for rejection. Either way, either one of those two answers, I don't have a trade. I don't have an immediate market execution for an upper movement here. Nor do I have an immediate market execution for a downward movement here. Y'all feel me on that?
Yeah. Yes.
So the other thing that's important to me is the fact that I have this huge supply box here, followed by a huge demand box here at the bottom. So price is caught in between a structure sandwich here. Price isn't going anywhere. So the best thing to do here is, hey, I could trap price. I could put an alert up here, and I could put an alert down here, and I could just go on to something else. Or I could just put it on my watch list and come back to it. Either way, I don't have a trade here. So let's talk about, Kim, let's talk about the psychological part of this. So even though I have thought this thing out logically, why do people muck this up so badly? Well, I'm going to go ahead and get in. President say he going to blow up stuff, so prices going to go up, and I'm just going to be early. Well, there's another way we could look at this. Also, so the volume. I'm at structure, right? And remember in our order of operation, when we first thing we locate price, and then there's 1A and 1B questions that we ask. Do I have volume? Do I have space? The answer to that here is no. However, past price action is also could be a helper. Yes?
Yes.
So in this case, I could go back here. Damn, price rejected here. It rejected here, here, and here. So if I just wanted to do a peek, maybe I set an alert above here, right? I set an alert above here. And if price comes above here at this point, then I want to maybe take a look, and I have to go through the evaluation all over again. We're talking about trading here, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking about, hey, this, I might want to just go ahead and stay in here for 90 days. And I ain't talking about any of that bullshit. I'm talking about how much money can I make right now? And the answer to that is zero. Maybe you can squeeze out 5 pips or something like that. But what's the question, Kim? Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yes, that's the question.
And then if you get some juice, does it taste good? Because some people don't know how to make freshly squeezed orange juice, believe it or not. Like, Kim, if I have to put sugar in freshly squeezed orange juice, at that point, was it worth the squeeze? No. Because a perfectly sweet orange, I don't have to add anything to it but ice. Y'all think about that analogy next time you have to, you're deciding whether to get in or get out of a trade. If I got to justify or rationalize something to getting in or getting out, then you probably are wrong. Remember, we only trade on what we know, not what we feel. If your answer or your rationale to this upper movement at this point is, well, I feel it's going to go, then you're already wrong. That's called gambling. We make decisions, or you should be making decisions on an entry or an exit based on what we know, not what we feel, on what we know. So what do we know here? we know that this is where our current price is. We know that there's not volume, and we know we don't have space. We also know that price got here and rejected several times. So if I'm looking for an upper movement and I'm not already in the trade, then I need to be looking at here as a look or a peek here at this number. Why? Because I want to give price some room that if it goes up here and it comes back, I don't want to get caught in a false breakout. Now, there's going to be some people looking at this this class online, because I'm going to post this tonight, and they're going to say, why does it have to, it can't be that simple. It is that simple. I'm not here to impress you about how smart I am, or how smart I want you to believe I am. No. It is the volume for the upper movement. Is it increasing? Yes. Okay. If it's increasing, then that means that I have momentum in the upper movement, meaning the market is putting money into the upper movement. Once price hits my alert, then I start doing the assessment all over again. Remember, just because the alert goes off doesn't mean you get into the trade. There's a lot of things that you have to check. All the boxes on the GG trend line, are they green? Is price trending on the ADX? Is the RSI above 50? But in this case, because price is overperforming, I want it to be over 60. Is the signal, has it breached the zero line here? And if it has, then how much volume is being measured by the MACD for the upper movement? What's my reading here on the currency strength meter? And is that momentum indicator past the 100 in the upper movement? Now that's something that I look at. It's not necessarily in the things that you check to be sure that you can get in a trade. And then, of course, I refer to the lower time frames of the 15 and 30 minute. Once I get a go there, then I'm in. But before all of that, I have to locate price. Once I locate price, the first thing is, do I have space? Do I have volume? And if any one of those questions is no, you did not have a trade at that moment. And then I stop there, and then I say, well, is volume increasing toward the upper movement, or is it decreasing? And if I'm not in the trade and it says it's increasing, I'm going to set my alarm here above the highest point, and I'm going to wait for price to arrive there. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we do not care what price does in between here. Don't care what it does. He could do flips. He could do, moonwalk. He could do all that stuff. I don't care what price does in here. But if I set a buy peak here, price has to move it past here. And then I have to do that assessment whether or not I can get in the trade or not. If the assessment says I can get in, then I get in. If the assessment says I can't get in, then I also have to do a second assessment. Is this a point of rejection here? And if it is, then I locate current price again. Then I'm looking for my next line of structure for the downward movement, right? Looking for my next line of structure. Then I'm trying to figure out where is my entry at this point. But see, here's the problem with this, and I'm glad we picked this trading entity here. Here's my, well, hold on. Okay. Here's our problem. This whole thing right here. And it looks like price is being what here?
Capped.
Yes. And is this a geopolitical move here? The answer is yes, it is. If you have not been living under a rock, you know what's going on in the Strait and with the administration and what's going on with Iran, all the political jazz going on. This is a geopolitical economic battle here. And let me tell you something else. If the U.S. decided that, hey, we're going to let someone else handle the peace negotiation here, this would have been done 3 days ago. If somebody came in to be a marriage counselor, this would have been over 3 days ago. Y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
You know why? Because the U.S. is not the official world leader anymore. Or I should say, it's unofficially not the world leader that it thinks it is. And y'all, I'm not talking politics, so get off me on that. I'm just talking about dollars and cents. It is a mess over there. If at worst case, Kim, at worst case, Iran was no more than the chihuahua barking on the porch. And know damn well they weren't coming off that porch. Maybe they were making a lot of noise. But there's no need for me to go up on the porch and hit that dog in the mouth when they're at home. There's no need for me to do that. Now, if he come off that porch and come out of that yard, then we got a problem. Money and power are bedfellows. Would you believe that? Is that a true statement? Coolest thing in the world would be for the president to say, you know what? Maybe I misstepped on this. I'm not saying he's going to do it. I don't even know if that's a good idea. But, maybe I misstepped. And maybe they get, the Brits or the Canadians or someone to come in and say, all right, man, I mean, what you need? Okay, what do you need? And then find some solution in the middle without, Iran giving up their sovereign land or giving up their sovereign power. Because this could happen in Africa. Could y'all imagine if the continent of Africa became like a solidarity partner where all 54 countries came together and put all their resources together and decided that they were going to build a nuclear bomb? So a country with with all those resources, and now, or a continent with all those resources, and then all of a sudden, this continent decides that collectively they're going to build a bomb. Or what if they came out and said, "Hey, we got a bomb," right? So that's what that's what this whole thing is here. Uh, Anybody have any questions about entries and exits?
Eric, on this particular example, would in determining whether your volume was increasing or decreasing, would a trend line be a valuable tool?
Well, in this case, if you look at this from here, Richard, I have to do two trend lines here. I have to do one here. And then I have to do one. Okay. So if you believe this, then the upper movement is inevitable. But here's your problem. What are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about what are we going to do? What are we going to do about the fact that price rejected here, here, here? So although this helps us recognize that, yes, at one point price was strong enough to break the trend line here, like come out of the cone, even though it was a narrow cone, right? Even though it was a narrow cone, but there's other elements of structure that exist. The day one here, that's an issue. Price rejecting here, here, and here, and then of course the big ass supply box. So in this case, the trend line, could we put one? Yeah. Did it help us? No. In this case, trend line does not help us. Other than to say, hey, there is space here and there's potential for price to move up here. But in this case, it's not definite, right? Because I still have strong elements of structure here. Does that answer your question?
Yes, clear. Crystal clear.
Anyone else have questions about entries or exits? There is a book um, that that will explain a lot of things about that video that Amos told me to buy. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. I think that's how long I've had the book. It's called The Secrets of the Federal Reserve. Anybody read that book? So the author's name, I'm gonna spell the first name Eustactt, and the last name is Mullins, Mullins. And I got it. I believe I got this off of Amazon. Everybody good? Y'all ready to get back to work? I hope so.
Yes, yes, yes.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I think, Kim, this week is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, just with I think the White House realizes how vulnerable they are, right? And right now, no news is popping up here. You know what? Let me refresh this, and then I'll switch.
No, got daylight savings time happening tonight for Europe.
Yeah, I saw that. So Forex Factory doesn't show anything for next week yet. Y'all don't worry about it. I have not switched. I know I haven't switched over yet, but I'm just waiting to find some. Okay, so my FX book is showing some news for next. All right, so this is for tomorrow, and this is for Monday. A lot of red folders right here. A lot of red folders. So this is 2 a.m. Monday morning, and a lot of news. Not a lot of news on the 30th. A lot of news. Couple of red folders on Tuesday. And then we go into the beginning of the second quarter. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. I can no longer say I'm 60. I turned 61 on the 22nd. And I was telling Kim, man, it got here quick, which means that the commodity of time is moving fast. You have a little over 12 hours left in the day today. 11 hours for you guys on the East Coast. Ownership means everything. If you're putting your faith into things that need to happen from other people, you are setting yourself up for failure and disappointment and heartbreak unless you have your own thing. Now, I'm not going to get on my soapbox today. I'm not going to do that. But if you're depending on somebody else signing your check, you are heading for heartbreak. I've been there. Kim has been there. So keep that in mind. The next time you say, I don't feel like looking at chart. Keep that in mind when, I'll put my alerts in later. Keep that in mind when you don't want to read. The more and more you know, or the more and more valuable you become to your employer, is the moment behind your back that they're trying to find two new dudes or two new sisters to take your place, because they'll need to fill the void of when they get rid of your ass. That's why you have to be ready financially to fight anywhere. Proverbial phone booth, parking lot, whatever. Octagon, squared circle, whatever. Wherever, however you want to get down. You have to be flexible. That's why I keep telling you, you got to get this Forex game together. You got to get this crypto game together. You got to get this private banking thing together. Because if you don't, somebody's going to get it together for you. And you probably won't like that. All right, good class, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me. We will be back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock for Market Watch to start off the week and march on into that second quarter and march on into spring and then soon into summer. And then before you know it, it'll be fall again. Where are you in your savings account program? Have you been trading? How much money have you made? Are you close to the goals that you need to be? Super 25 could have showed you that, hey, if I need to get 15 trades, I can do it. Super 25 should have showed you that. So I don't want to hear the excuse about, oh, I'm so busy. Well, you know, I don't. Come on, man. Come on. We passed all that now. Everybody in here has been on here long enough. We passed all that. Passed all that. Let's go. Let's go get it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great Sunday. I'll see y'all tomorrow night.